from those who fade?
It's very simple, and it's service above self. Every single one of these individuals are true public servants in the absolute purest form. You mentioned Andy Card, Leon Panetta. I'm blessed. I'm interviewing them later today for the podcast for pre-recording. And I've never met two finer gentlemen than these guys, and the careers that they have had are, if they were baseball or football players, they're in the Hall of Fame, first ballot. If there were Mount Rushmore for non-presidents, they'd be on it. And obviously in both different political parties. You mentioned General Sassville, who's just, for people who don't know his story, he was one of the first two planes deployed when 9/11 happened. He'd just come back from a practice flight and was unarmed. He and then Lieutenant Heather Penny, Lucky Penny, their job was to take down Flight 93, and one was to strike the front of the plane, one was to strike the tail of the plane, and it was a suicide mission. And people didn't really know that story until the 10th anniversary. So I want to make sure people know that story. And that's part of what we're doing here is the general public don't know a lot of these stories that's actually happened about heroism, resiliency, duty, service above self. And so heroes like Mark Sassville, Heather Penny, leaders like Andy Card, Leon Pineda, that's what we need our young people today to look for in terms of your Aaron Judge, your Shohei Ohtani, your whoever your big star is, in terms of what you should do and what you should focus on to be that public servant that they are and that they have been. And these gentlemen and women have done 30, 40, 50 years of their career where they could have made a ton of dough in the private sector, but they serve their country above themselves.
I try to tell anybody that's willing to listen, I get on my soapbox. My wife always teases me. She's like, here he goes again. He's going to go off this diatribe or this recruiting episode. But I keep telling people, it has been proven time and time again, from psychologists to sociologists to you name the profession, service has proven to provide internal happiness. Service at your church, being a police officer, being a firefighter, serving your community, serving others has been proven that is what wakes you up in the morning and provides this level of happiness that people are just seeking through TikTok, through these channels that are not designed to make you happy. They're designed to make you miserable so that you continue to consume more content, buy more products, follow more things. And it's sad. I wish there was an easy answer.
No, sad is the understatement. And my hope is that, when these, I'll call them young kids because I'm a little bit older than you, but, when they're 22, 23, 4 years old, they're still growing, still maturing, especially we know that men mature later than women. But my hope is that once they turn 30 and they become husbands, wives, parents, they realize the world's a little bit different and they have different responsibilities now. And that, to your point, it has been proven time and time again that working at your soup kitchen, delivering meals, being a volunteer for the Boy Scouts or whatever it may be, that's what makes you feel good. That's what makes you get out of bed. And it's something as simple as that. It's not a lot of time. And if you do that, you're going to feel good. You're going to teach your spouse or your neighbors or your children about it as well. And they give back. And so my neighbor, we're very close friends with them, the wife, she spends most of her time at the local animal shelter. And that's her big thing. And because of her, well, you heard one, but we have 2 rescue dogs. And so it's just something as simple as that, where you give back your time, you feel good, but it's also not just about you feeling good. It's just the right thing to do.
What question do you wish someone would ask you, but rarely does?
Wow. Probably that one.
Yeah.
Oh boy. If you weren't on Wall Street, where would you be? And I'm only saying that because I saw a new podcast is coming out where they asked Charles Barkley if he wasn't 6'10", where would he be? And he says, I'd be at McDonald's asking if you want fries with that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know. I'd probably be like a policy wonk in a think tank. You sort of, going into that academia world. My wife laughs at the number of pieces of paper I have on the wall. I'm like, they just collect dust. It's more things to dust on Saturday.
I've taken all my certificates and accomplishments off my wall. Now it's just airplanes and motivational.
Much better. Much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe a teacher. My mom was a teacher, and I've been an adjunct professor in the past, so maybe that route.
When your career is viewed as a whole, What do you hope connects the chapters?
Parallel lives, Wall Street meets Main Street, and just the giving back component to it. Yes, again, I've been very blessed to have a long, fairly successful career in the financial services industry, but that's afforded me the luxury of being able to do the volunteer work that I've done. That jump-started it, obviously, with the foreclosure event. And so just having that ability to navigate those two worlds and to have those parallel lives, I think has really been what's been most fulfilling for me.
For our listeners who feel stuck between comfort and calling, what's the first next step you challenge them to take?
Go for it. Don't be afraid. Things will work out. You'll figure it out. You might take a step back, but you're going to take 3 steps forward. And so, you mentioned my podcast at the beginning of the show. It's called Next Steps Forward. And it's always about, you might get knocked down, but it's about perseverance. It's about resilience. It's about, going forward and learning from your mistakes, and teaching others about that as well. Just like our parents, we're now becoming our parents. Like, don't do it. You're going to learn and like, damn it, dad was right or mom was right. And so really just go for it. Things will figure themselves out.
One thing that I try to tell folks when I'm asked kind of that next step question, or what can I do today, right? You look at this thing and it